Our first midweek championship fixtures are here, and it's been a very, very difficult start to the championship for me and my predictions. Last time out on the weekend, no scores, only 3 results correct, so another poor showing. Premier League predictions are going okay, we're getting quite a few scores right there, but in the championship it's not really working out, and it's kind of proving everyone's point at the start of the season that this is one of the toughest championship seasons that there has been for a while, with a lot of teams with high quality, and then there are a few, but not too many down the bottom that you just don't fancy too much. But it's a difficult season to predict. I'm not getting many scores right, but I'm hoping I can get some here. And it's a very tight schedule because, we just played on the weekend, first midweek games and then the weekend again. So it's going to be interesting to see how teams cope with the deal with all the games and the depth and everything. But we're going to get into my predictions, so let's go for it. We start with Bristol City against Plymouth, and I don't know if it's just me and Bristol City, but I always seem to have them down for a draw. Now that's okay because they did draw last weekend. However, I didn't put them to draw, I had them to win. I normally go for a draw. For some reason, I think it's because I had so many draws, I had to change some scores. I changed that one, and I ended up going from a draw to a Bristol City win, and they drew. They just look like a team that are always going to draw. They have drawn 3 out of their 6 so far, so half of their games are draws. Plymouth have had a good start to the season, considering they are a newly promoted side. They did lose 2-1 to Preston, but Preston are flying at the moment, the current league leaders. And I'm going to go for, in this one, back to what I normally do with Bristol City, 1-1. Cardiff take on Coventry. Cardiff picked up some much needed points, their second win of the season, and it was against Welsh rivals Swansea, who currently haven't got a win on the board. Cardiff, although before the game I said there's not much quality in either side, Cardiff got the points that they needed. They do have Aaron Ramsey, which is their one bit of quality, and he has started the season very well. And they're going to need all the points they can get, because I think by the end of the season they will be around the relegation zone, so they want to try and pick up the points now while they can, and they did a good job of it. Coventry cannot stop drawing, 4 in a row. Am I going to go for another here? No. The only reason is Coventry have spent money in the summer. They've also sold some big players, but they've got some money in, they've brought in some good replacements, and I think this could be the game where it clicks. So Coventry to win, 2-1. This would have been an interesting fixture, as it would have been the only 2 unbeaten sides in the league. It's Preston v Blues, and Blues unfortunately lost their unbeaten run on the weekend, losing 2-0 to Watford. Preston have started well, very well, league leaders, drew their first game, won the next 5. Blues, that loss to Watford was disappointing, but we always lose to Watford on the road. We never score against Watford on the road. I kind of saw it coming. I said in my prediction I'm going to be optimistic and go for a Blues win, but that my head was saying we're going to lose this game, and we did. So unfortunately our unbeaten run is gone, but we've had a good start to the season, and we have got most of our important players. 3 of them are out injured at the moment, unfortunately, but I've got a feeling we might be able to put an end to Preston's winning run. Preston are overperforming, I think, at the moment, and I think we can nick something, so I'm going to go 1-1. A massive game down near the bottom of the table, QPR against Swansea. Now QPR have won 2 and lost 4 of their 6. Swansea have drawn 2 and lost 4. So Swansea still haven't got a win on the board. They lost last time out 2-0 to Cardiff. I think this is a massive game for Swansea, because if they can't get a point at least here, if they go and lose this game, I think they're in big trouble. And I think that Duff may already be at risk of losing his job, because Swansea just do not look at it at all. They're going from heavy possession to not much possession, and the players are struggling to transition to how the coach wants them to play. I've just got this feeling that QPR are going to do it. So I'm going to go for the home side, QPR to win it 1-0. Southampton v Ipswich should be an interesting tie. However, the home side will be very disappointed at their recent form. Out of their first 4, they won 3 and drew 1. However, a 5-0 loss to Sunderland before the international break and a 4-1 loss to Leicester just after the international break isn't good showing. They're struggling to defend. Conceding 9 and 2 is absolutely crazy for a side that's just came down. And I'm not sure what is going on with Southampton, but they're not looking at it. Ipswich, however, are looking right at it. 5 wins out of 6. The other was a loss, but 15 out of 18 points just coming up. Brilliant start from Ipswich. And I've got a feeling they're going to get all 3 points here. I don't go against Southampton much, but Ipswich to win in a very entertaining game, 3-2. Another massive game between the two sides on 1 point so far. Sheffield Wednesday, who were quite expected to be here, and Middlesbrough, a big shock down there. Now, Sheffield Wednesday aren't doing too badly defensively. In their last 4 games, they've only conceded 4 goals. They got a 0-0 draw against Leeds. So they're not awful defensively, but they've only scored 1 goal in those 4. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, in their last 4 games, they've conceded 9. So there are problems in defence for Middlesbrough. They're scoring a few more than Sheffield Wednesday, but they're letting in far too many. I don't really know how to go with this one, because on paper, Middlesbrough should be winning this. Based off of Carrick last season, Middlesbrough should be winning this. But for some reason, it's not quite clicking since they went into the playoffs. So I'm going to go for a bit of a shock maybe. However, the table wouldn't say so. A 1-1 draw. Blackburn and Sunderland are both on the same points. Both have the same record with 3 wins, 1 draw and 2 losses. Blackburn beat Middlesbrough 2-1 in their last game. Sunderland unbeaten in 4 and winning 2 in a row. The latest was a 3-1 win against QPR, and that came after the 5-0 battering of Sunderland. Now, Blackburn are a bit hit and miss, because the week before beating Middlesbrough, they lost 3-0 to Plymouth. How do I see this one going? If I'm honest, I'd probably go down the middle, but I feel like Sunderland have that extra bit of quality and will just get the job done just about. But being away doesn't make it easy. But Sunderland to win 2-1. Huddersfield against Stoke, and it has been announced that this will be Neil Warnock's last game. Now, I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind it, as Huddersfield picked up their first win just before the international break and managed to get another at the weekend. So 2 wins in a row, beating Rotherham 2-0 in the latest one. So I'm not sure about the timing, what's wrong with Warnock, but he is leaving and I believe he is going back into retirement. He's done a very good job saving Huddersfield last season, was a miracle. They hadn't started great, but he started to get a bit of a run going. Stoke, I don't know what's happened to Stoke. They beat Rotherham 4-1 opening day. Since then, 5 games, scored 1, which was a 1-0 win, but then conceded 6 with no reply. So Stoke are really struggling at the moment. And I was going to go for a draw until I found out that it's Warnock's last game. So now I'm going to go Huddersfield to win 1-0. Hull against Leeds should be a very good clash. Now, Hull have started very well. They lost opening day to Norwich, but have since then unbeaten in 5, 3 wins, 2 draws. It's a very good start from Hull. Leeds started a bit shakily, although they have only lost 1 game, and it was to Blues this season. But Joel Pirot is on fire, so are all their attackers really. They beat Millwall 3-0 away. Pirot with 2 goals, Jorginho Rutter with the other. And they just look like they are really coming together now. To be honest, I fancied Southampton before the season started. But Leeds are starting to build now, and I think Leeds may just be heading straight up the table. So I'm going to go It was difficult, but for the away side Leeds to pick up all 3 points, that man Perrault probably being the difference again, 2-1. Millwall versus the Millers, Rotherham. Now Millwall are very inconsistent, 3 losses so far. The last one was 3-0 against Leeds, so that's 3 out of 6 losses. Rotherham, they have lost 4, won 1, drew 1. So they're both really struggling. Rotherham lost 2-0 to Huddersfield, who are another team that are kind of down there. So it was poor from Rotherham in that game. I've just got a feeling that Millwall will get the job done, but they've been pretty hard to guess. So Rotherham will probably win it. However, I will back Millwall to win 1-0. Watford against West Brom should be a tight game. Watford, very, very strange because they went and beat Blues 2-0 on the weekend. It was their first win since the opening day. But they've won 2, drew 2, lost 2, so hard to read. And that's exactly the same as West Brom. 2 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. The latest was a 0-0 draw with Bristol City. So they're both difficult to read. Neither of them are particularly in any vein of form. I will just back the home side because I've just got that kind of feeling. Away at Watford is a hard fixture, especially for Blues. We never win it. I don't know if West Brom have a good record there, but I fancy Watford to get all 3 points in a 2-1 win. Norwich against Leicester should be a very, very exciting fixture. I'm thinking there might be quite a few goals in this one. Norwich are in very, very good form. 1-4, drew 1, lost 1. The loss was surprisingly to Rotherham. Fair play to Rotherham for that, but Norwich must not have turned up in that one. Leicester, brilliant. 5 wins, 1 loss which was to Hull, but their latest game was their most convincing win. And funnily enough, it was against another team that just came down, Southampton. Leicester away, won it 4-1. Mavididi was excellent, as were the whole of Leicester's squad. And maybe something's clicked there. Finding the back of the net very, very well. Their biggest winning margin this season. And for that reason, even though I think Norwich will have a great season and they've started so well, I can't go away from the away side. So I'm going to back the Foxes to win this in an exciting, high-scoring fixture, 3-2. So those are my predictions for these championship fixtures. There's some exciting ones here, and I'm hoping for plenty of goals and at least 1 correct score. Hopefully we can get that, because it's been a while in the championship. Make sure to like and subscribe, and up the Blues.